Hola, Alex here with a new video, and today we are talking about the Sigma 135 1.4 for the Sony E-mount. If you're new to the channel, my name is Alex, and I'm a portrait photographer based out of Miami, Florida, and I primarily shoot with Sony and Leica. Sigma was kind enough to let me borrow the 135 f1.4 for a few weeks, and I got to test it out, and I want to share my first impressions with you in this video. I do have to say, I don't like longer focal lengths. As a matter of fact, I hate long focal lengths. I used to be a wedding photographer. I did weddings for 6 years. And as a wedding photographer, I could shoot probably 90% of a wedding on a 50mm lens. That was my go-to, my bread and butter. And I didn't really like going with a longer focal length because I like interacting with my subjects, especially during portrait sessions. I want to be able to communicate. I want to be able to interact. And the longer the focal length, the farther you're away from your subjects and the more impersonal it feels. And because of that, when I did weddings, the maximum I would shoot with is an 85mm, and even then, I wasn't the biggest fan. So when Sigma announced their 135 1.4 and they started calling it the Bokeh Master, and I started seeing some of the samples, I knew I had to try it, but I wasn't expecting to like it. First, again, it's a longer focal length, not a fan of those. Second, this lens is massive. It is huge and it is heavy. So on paper, it had everything for me to not like this lens. I was gonna test it out and be like, cool, and move on. So I got the lens from Sigma. The minute I unboxed it, I opened it, immediately I was just floored at the size of this thing. I don't think I've ever seen this much glass in a lens, and it was just massive and it was heavy. And let me tell you, you feel every single ounce of this lens. So I proceeded to mount it on my Sony A1 II, which I'm filming with right now. Went out and did some portraits, and I was floored. Wow. Having a 135mm at 1.4 is just insane. It obliterates everything in the background. I mean, I've never seen this much bokeh in any portrait I've ever taken. And here's the crazy part. So when I took this lens to test it out the first day, I was actually also testing out the Hasselblad X2D Mark II with the 90mm f2.5. And the minute I saw the first photo with the Sigma 135 1.4, I did not touch the Hasselblad. That's how impressed I was, and I was hooked. I was hooked. And I have to say this, and you're going to be seeing the images throughout this video. I love bokeh. I love shooting wide open. One of my favorite lenses is the 51.2, and again, just having that creamy background, I'm a sucker for it. But this lens delivers that in levels I've never seen before, and not only does it do that, but the rendering of this lens, the sharpness wide open, I was just blown away by the quality and the results I was getting. And I went from thinking like, hey, who would use this lens at this size and weight and this focal length, to me thinking, I think I need to add this lens to my kit because it's special. It delivers a rendering that no other lens does, and that means that your work stands out when you use this lens. Because I guarantee you, a lot of people have not seen a lot of photos taken on 135 1.4 and just seen that background get obliterated. Now, of course, it can be overdone, but the results just speak for themselves. So after that first session, just using the lens, I decided to take it with me everywhere. That was audacious, let me tell you, because this lens is heavy. So I took this lens on another shoot at a beach, and again in that session, I had the X2D, and I hardly used the X2D because I was just loving the results on the 135. And I ended up taking this lens with me as well to a theme park. So if you know me and you follow me, I'm a huge Disney adult. So I go to all the theme parks. I decided to take this lens with me to Universal Studios. It was horror nights, and just capturing photos with this lens, I actually was able to take it into a show and captured some action shots of performers with this lens. And here is where I was impressed again. So at 135 1.4, you have the image quality, but you might think, okay, there's no way this lens is fast. There's no way the autofocusing on this lens can keep up with fast moving subjects. And It does. It can. I was shooting, they're called the Fuel Girls, and they do this show at Universal Studios Horror Nights. And it is such a good show. It is actually an incredible show. I was floored by their performance, and I was taking pictures, and I was like up in the stands, I was up in the top with this lens, and the lens was acquiring focus and keeping up with all their movements the entire time. At some shots, I was even shooting at like ISO 8000, I think, so lighting wasn't great, and it was still acquiring focus, and the focusing motors were still keeping up with the subject. And that's when I realized this lens, not only is it optically impressive, not only is it optically different and special, it can also keep up with subjects with its autofocusing motors. And I mean, what is there to hate about this lens? So you've seen pictures I've taken with this lens, and obviously you can hear the excitement in my voice. This lens is special. There is nothing like it in the market, and I'm glad Sigma is taking wild swings and doing different things. Because on paper, if you think about it, making a 3-pound lens, an expensive lens in this focal length, probably kind of niche, and a lot of companies maybe wouldn't take a risk or even want to develop a lens like that. But the fact that Sigma did and is delivering these results, I gotta commend them for that, because we need more lenses like this. As technology evolves, we can only have so many 35mm 1.4, so many 50 1.4s. We really need to see companies start kind of experimenting and really pushing the boundaries of physics to see what we can do with lenses. And this 135 1.4 does it. And it is just chef's kiss. So if you're in the market for a 135, if you've been looking at this lens, you will not be disappointed. If you are in the market and you are thinking about pulling the trigger, you will not be disappointed, because the results you will get are absolutely special. The rendering is special, and I can confidently call this lens the Bokeh King, the Bokeh Master, whatever acronym you want to give it. It is one of the best lenses I have used and the most bokeh I have ever seen in a portrait. But what did you guys think? You've seen the images. Let me know down below. Is there such thing as too much bokeh? I don't think so, but you let me know down below. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. Please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.